What's going on, people? Welcome back to YouTube. Welcome back to the Premier League Forum Lounge, where I'm back with my partners in crime. And someone's got their microphone on, and I can hear myself in the background. Hold on, guys are still coming in. Guys are still coming in. Welcome to Tony. Tony coming in on Black Man Time.
I'm here.
Hey, I thought there's no way a Liverpool fan's gonna miss the glory this week. Absolutely.
No. Never late for the party.
So guys, just want to say hey to the panel. What's going on, Tony? What's going on, bro?
All good, brother. All very good. After we're doing all right. We seem to be making moves in the transfer market, so I'm very happy about some of the upcoming transfers that we could have in the next week or so.
Excellent. Bertram, how's it going there in New York?
We're where we belong in the top four, and intend to stay there. But New York is good. Our infection rates are not terrible. People are getting around, so it's all good.
Have you seen my YouTube video today? It had Jamie Carragher's with it. Jamie Carragher said after seeing the first two games of Mikel Arteta, he was just like, look, this team's going to be in the top four. I don't know where they're going to finish, but they're going to be in there. He's really surprised at what he sees. He ain't seen the Liverpool result yet.
He hasn't seen the rest of the team. Everybody's threatening.
Absolutely.
And Dave, how's your week gone, Dave?
Could have been better.
You've got Dallas won, Spurs won. What's the problem, mate?
Listen, all right, yeah, Dallas. I'm loving life. We're good. Don't give me any banter this week because we pulled off the miracles of all miracles. But
I'd like to go it away, mate.
We'll keep that one on the quiet.
Let's welcome Luke. Luke's first time on the forum. Luke, how you doing? West Ham fan. How's your week been, mate?
It's terrible. Shit, just awful. But I'm here. Let's talk about it. I'm here to talk. So
yeah, hold on. Didn't you win 3-0 in the midweek?
We won 5-1, didn't we?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, 5-1. Yeah, 5-1.
You're doing this injustice there, mate. You're doing this injustice. Yeah. It's got a good result there. It's all good. So it's better than one at the weekend anyway.
Excellent. Andy, how are you getting on, mate?
Yeah, good. Spurs are in a bit of a better place this time than we were this time last week.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Tony, what about you, mate? How's your week going?
Yeah, fine, man. Got a result against Chelsea, so that was a good one for us. Yeah, it's all good. I've got my brother here. He's a Spurs supporter.
Ah, your brother, there's a Spurs supporter. What's going on, bro?
Yeah.
Man's got a smile on his face, showing his face as a Spurs fan. And it's time for Spurs fans to big up their chest this week, isn't it?
Yeah. He can't hear me because I've got the headphones on. But,
excellent. Tell him we said what's up, man. Tell him we said what's up. So, guys, let's get straight into it.
Cool.
The results that have come through. Let's talk about the first one. Let's talk about Everton 5.
Asking about the link.
What's that?
No, my brother started asking about the link to watch this.
Yeah, just tell him to go to 101 on Arsenal on YouTube.
All right, no worries. All right,
yeah, 101 on Arsenal on YouTube.
YouTube.
And the first result, guys, we've got is Everton 5, West Brom 2. Wow. I mean, I did well. You can see my prediction there on the right-hand side. I said it was going to be 2-1. But this team is for real. Tony, talk to me about this result. What did you go for? Did you get this one right?
I can't remember what I predicted on this. I was surprised by the number of goals. That was definitely a big shock. I didn't expect that many goals from Everton, but look, they bought really well. They bought extremely well, and you can't knock a team like Everton who have got money there to spend and a very good manager. Ancelotti is doing what Ancelotti is expected to do, making them compete towards the top end of the table. So no surprise with the result, just surprised with the number of goals.
Yeah, for real. Bertram, how did you see this one? Did you get this one right?
Come back to me. I'm trying to find my predictions. I have them written down somewhere.
All right, listen. Do you remember, guys? I said leave them in the comment section below. That way,
no, I did actually, but I took
a picture.
Excellent. Dave, what did you think of this one?
I think it does go to show Everton are for real. I think this is a team that's, gelled very quickly as well. When you think about how James has come over, and he's, it looks like he hasn't lost a step really from what he was doing in Madrid. And you look at how Calvert-Lewin's doing as well. Calvert-Lewin banged in a hat-trick. Like this guy, like I said, if he can bang in, 15 to 20, let me up there. I think he's got the ceiling to bag 20 this year. So if he can keep doing that, they're going to be a problem. They could, if the teams above Everton, that top six, those top six sides, if they start sleeping, Everton could be a massive problem. So, but yeah, it also goes to show West Brom. I think they could potentially struggle. They didn't really, even though they created chances, they didn't really look threatening to me, if I have to be honest with you. So, but yeah, I think the game, although the goals, there was a lot of goals. I would have said 3-0 Everton, to be honest with you.
Yeah. What about you, Luke? How did you see this one?
This was started out as the biggest slap in the face to West Ham fans you could think of. Dean Garner scoring a worldie after going through from the halfway line. There's always West Ham fans going. You see, can't you got a notification on my phone saying West Brom 1-0, and I went, I know he scored. I know he scored. I know it's him. I know he scored. And then not only did he score, he scored a worldie. He took it past all the team and scored a worldie. And I thought, here we go. And then after a while, you think ding, 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 Everton score, and there's Rodriguez and all stuff. Rodriguez is going to change them as a team. I think you remember the days of Arteta, when Arteta was one of their best players in the field, and their Tim Cahill up front. To good old days, Everton could be back. So unfortunately for us, we've lost Dan Garner. We've got not much money for him in my opinion, but he's doing bits for West Brom. So it was a great game for a neutral. It's a brilliant game.
Yeah, I mean, Everton had, to tell you how terrifying this game was, they had 800 passes, which hasn't been done in 4.5 years, and they had 90% passing accuracy. I mean, it weren't even close. Ancelotti, listen, Andy, Ancelotti's got these lot playing, mate.
He has. I actually watched this game from start to finish, and it was the scoreline is slightly distorted because basically the first half, West Brom were the better team. West Brom were better than Everton in the first half, and then Kieran Gibbs, God knows what he was thinking, but made a terrible error pushing Rodriguez in the face just before our time and got sent off. And at that point, Everton had come back from Diangana got a worldie. Then Everton scored twice and were 2-1 up, and then Kieran Gibbs got sent off just on the break. Slaven Bilic then got sent off for protesting with the referee at half time. Then West Brom come out and equalised with a great free kick from Pereira, like 2-2, minute or two in the second half. And at that point, up to an hour, West Brom were at least as good as Everton. But what happened was, with just 10 men, Rodriguez just got the space that he needed and basically took over the game, started running the show, and then he was clipping, amazing passes through, and he was just finding the space as West Brom got tired. So in the end, Everton ran away with it, but up to an hour, there wasn't a lot in it between the two sides. So I think maybe people have to just say, yes, Everton do look good, and Rodriguez is a class act, but I'll be interested to see what Rodriguez is doing on Tuesday nights in December, away at Burnley. It'd be interesting to see what's happening then. So I just think that they've played West Brom and Spurs in the first week, who just weren't at the races. I just think we need to wait and see what Everton do against a decent side. They're playing Palace, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and I think that will be a much tougher game. If they take Palace apart, I will say, okay, yeah, they're looking strong. But I think Palace will give Everton a tough game tomorrow. So
yeah, I think so. Tony, what about you, man? Did you see this one going 5-2, or did you see this one going Everton easy win?
No, I had Everton 3-0, to be fair. With West Brom, as I said last week, their problem is going to be keeping goals out and scoring goals. All right, they've got 2 goals this week, but I think teams are going to look at West Brom and going to tee off. they're going to play blasé football and try and score as much goals as they feel they can get. Because I think it's going most teams are going to think they can score more goals than West Brom anyway. So I'm conceding 1 or 2, but I think West Brom are going to struggle. And Everton have got they've got harder games to come. Everton, they haven't been tested yet.
That's
a test to come.
It's spoken like a true Merseyside man. Look at that. It's a true
No. But they haven't been tested.
Yeah, listen, they won't get tested until they play you lot. You're the champions. Like, we've got to play you twice this week. So all the stuff that Arteta's been able to do, all the players that they've brought in, everything that they've done to improve, we won't know the answer to how good we really are until we go to Anfield. Because, it's been, 2012 since we last won there?
Yeah.
So that's the test. Cass, welcome back, Cass. Man United fan. How you getting on, bro?
How's it going, man? I literally just lost a bit of sound as you came to me, but I can hear you faintly. What have I missed? What have I missed?
Nothing. We're on the first result, so just wanted to get your feedback on the Everton 5-2 win at West Brom.
This is literally the first I'm hearing of it, but I did think they would win. The midfield is very strong. A lot of people are going to struggle with Everton. Don't get me wrong; they're not challenging for the league or anything, but they are a very difficult team. I think they'll do well this year. I think their midfield will make sure of that. And I do so I'm not surprised they beat West Brom at all, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I mean, it's the firepower. I mean, we really don't know. They look dangerous. And I've talked about in the next game that we've got up here, Leeds. I've been talking to all of you lot about Leeds for weeks now. And they're just, I mean, I know they let in 3 goals and they let in, 4 goals against Liverpool last week. But could you imagine 4-3 results, both in 2 weeks? That's madness. And these guys are dangerous. They just need to tighten up the defense. Remember, they walked the championship in the same way Liverpool walked the Premiership. I'm expecting them to do damage. And I actually tipped them for a 2-0 win here. But, a lot of goals in this one, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, from the previous week when we destroyed Fulham, we all thought they'd become the whipping boys of the division. Again, the result's not very, difficult to predict in this game. However, we didn't see Fulham scoring 3 goals, and we didn't think it'd be the end-to-end cracker that it was, and it was very entertaining. But yeah, Leeds are going to be there or thereabouts as well. I think they're going to, they're a very strong team, well marshaled. Bielsa's got them playing to a tune. I just think they're not going to score every week with Bamford. I just don't see him being that prolific. So they may need to dip into the market and find another striker.
Yeah, I bet they're wishing they kept Nketiah right now. Bertram, where did you see this one going?
Well, I just found my scorecard from last week. I had a 3-1 Leeds.
Excellent. Okay.
But I will say that I think someone mentioned they just need to tighten up their defense. That's like saying Palace need to score more goals. I mean, it's not that easy, especially in this environment, to get quality players. And your defense is not just your 4 defenders. Your defense is your team. And I do think they play a little bit lax. They're a little bit loose in terms of how they either defend as a team or how they pursue. He wants to play gung-ho. Let's see what happens come February or March if they still have their legs under them to play the way they're playing. But it's going to be interesting to see how they do for the rest of the season. But they're a good team. So, but I thought it would beat Fulham. Because I don't think Fulham is that good anyway.
Excellent. What about you, Dave? Where did you see this one going?
I thought Leeds would get a win. I thought maybe like a 1 or 2-0 win. I didn't see, both teams scoring this amount of goals, especially Fulham. I think with Fulham, it's like I said, if Mitrovic isn't scoring, then they're not winning. And even if he is scoring now, it seems like they're not going to win. So, they've got problems. I think they will be, in the relegation zone. But Leeds look good. They look good. I feel like they're gonna get a mid-table finish. And I think everyone's going to kind of fall in love with this team. After when it gets to November, December. But I've just started watching the Amazon Leeds show, and it seems like they actually burn out quite a bit towards the mid to end of every season. And with Bielsa and his demands on players, are they going to burn out during that time as well? Which is something that I've seen in that documentary. It could potentially happen again, but they're getting 3 points. They've got 3 points on the board. It's good performance. Is a good start from.
Yeah, Luke, I talked about a week ago Leeds playing man-to-man, and the only team in the Premiership that are doing that. It makes it very difficult for teams to get a jump on them. What did you think of that? I mean, that's a cracking scoreline.
Yeah, that's the twice in a week. That's unreal. But to switch it around to make sure you're the winners, that's something else. But they're going to be a very interesting team. I think they're going to be what Sheffield United were last season under Chris Bold, kind of like a dark horse sort of thing. But I think what I thought was quite interesting was the fact that they showed Liverpool up for their weaknesses in the opening day. So you had like Van Dijk making mistakes, and it was like Bamford of all players to make that mistake, and it was a bit like, well, they're pretty good strikers to be fair, but he just seems a bit inconsistent to be fair. But you look at Bielsa. I mean, the geezer just sits on a bucket on the sideline. Someone get that man a bloody gaming chair or something. He's getting older now. He needs a comfort, but. There's something about them. There's something about them that they've come up and they're exciting and they're full throttle. And if they're not going to be scared of any team this year, and it's going to be really interesting. And I'd say now you're probably going to see a lot more 4-3s. So when you're betting, lads, at the weekend, make sure you got on your goals, alternative goals selection. You pick up about 4+ goals in the matches, because I've got a feeling there ain't going to be many 0-0s from Leeds, but I'm excited. They're an exciting team and scoring more goals than us at the minute. So what can I say?
Yeah, I mean, Andy, I talked last week when I mentioned to you guys that Leeds have spent £60 million, and we talked about the players, the big-time players that they brought. One of them was Wolves' Helder Costa. He got 2 goals this weekend.
He's one of them was a cracking goal. In particular, it was a fantastic volley. He's a cracking player. I think they'll do well with him. I mean, I think this game was probably a little bit more straightforward than the scorelines looked, because they were 4-1 up, and I think they kind of went to sleep a little bit before at the end, and Fulham got back to 4-3. So I think Leeds were comfortably the better team in the game.
Yeah.
But they just went a bit to sleep at the end when they were 4-1 up. But credit to Fulham for plugging away and making a game of it near the end. But Bielsa, the style of Bielsa, very similar. I mean, he was Pochettino's mentor, and Spurs did the same under Pochettino, where they were rampant for like 2/3 of the season, playing that high press and man-to-man, marking. And then they tended to, Spurs under Pochettino a couple of times, faded in the run into the end of the season. And so I think you could see the same with Leeds this year, like someone else just said earlier. But it's a bit of a trait about that very high intensity, very high press that sometimes come February, March, the players are running on empty because they've been, doing it all season. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Leeds in the spring. But yeah, like the guys have been saying, I think you're going to see plenty of entertaining football with Leeds this season. They've got a good side. I'm pretty sure they've on the verge of buying, either have or on the verge of buying another big player in the last 24 hours, I think.
Wow.
I think I heard something today, 20-30 million or something for someone. I think Leeds have, so I think they're adding again to their squad. So I think they are going to give teams a lot of problems.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, listen, these guys ain't messing around. They're in it to win it, man. I mean, they want to stay in the Premier League. They've been out of it for such a long time. So yeah, they're going to put that effort in. Cass, what was your thoughts on this result?
I could see it. I could definitely see a 4-3 with Fulham, with Leeds. I think Leeds are going to be the type of team that if you beat them, it's like, thank God I got past that.
Yeah.
Because some people are going to lose points. Some people are going to be the people, unfortunately, they took points off you. They beat you. Like Liverpool was so lucky to have beat them. I couldn't believe it. Watching the game, I thought there's no way they're going to win.
Yeah.
And they got the win, so now that's behind them, like it didn't happen. But everyone else has to go through that at some point. They're very, very active, very energetic. They're on your neck. They are on your neck.
Yeah.
And they've just come up. They've got nothing to lose. They're not expected to win. So it's like kind of us against them attitude, they literally have nothing to lose. I think they're going to be a big problem for many teams. I don't think they're going to do well in terms of a high finish, but I think they're going to do well in terms of what they should be doing. So I think they're going to be a mid-table team. I think they're going to be safe. I think there's no way they're going to go back down. But yeah, they will take a lot of points from a lot of teams. And you're going to have to take the banter. You're going to have to take the banter when you lose.
Yeah, true. Tony, where did you see this one?
I had it Leeds 2-1. You know, I had it 1 goal in it because you know, Fulham and Leeds played each other in the each other how they play. With Leeds, even though the goals they scored, right? If you look at the goal ratio, they're on 0. They've scored 7 and conceded 7.
Yeah.
And you know, that's saying that's all like, you know, mid-table. That's where you're going to end. I think Leeds how Liverpool was. Remember when Klopp, Liverpool were doing it highest when and we sort of like burnt out near the back end season. So it's somewhere along the line with some part of the season he has to have that. I don't know if he's got enough players to bring in, but he find a balance between when to press and when to sort of like hold, because they won't be able to keep that up. There's no way they won't be able to keep up that press. And I think they've got Sheffield United to visit tomorrow.
Yeah.
On Monday they've got Sheffield United, and there's a clash of styles there, so it'd be interesting to see how they get on, because I don't think they'll score 4 goals against Sheffield United.
Excellent. So, guys, we're going to go on to Man United's game at Crystal Palace. Cass, we're just going to let you do this one. Dave came up with an idea yesterday to let the actual supporters talk about their team, because and it will carry more insight. And if you guys afterwards want to chime in with your thoughts on it, then feel free. I'll open up the floor. Cass, I had you down. I actually had this game as a 1-1 draw because Palace had a great result in the first week. Talk us through the game. What happened?
For me, look, if you look at the Manchester United fan base, it's so split. It's so crazy. Everyone's got their agendas. Everyone's kind of got their thoughts. But if you just look at things in reality, we was the only team in the Premier League to have 0 preseason. I know everyone had a short preseason, but we had nothing. Like, we had 1 game against Aston Villa, which 4 of our first team players played in. This game against Crystal Palace was our preseason. Crystal Palace was already up to speed. They already had a few games. I thought it was going to be a hard game, but I thought, all right, we've got enough quality that we can nick a win and look bad, like not look good but win. I was hoping for it, but when we lost, I mean, I wasn't that surprised. I was disappointed because obviously, being a Manchester United fan in London, you get slaughtered. You stick out like a sore thumb. Yeah. So my WhatsApp groups was on fire. But other than that, with the game, I just you
dominated it. You had 17 shots. You had 76% of possession. They only had 24% possession. You had 700 passes. They had 200 passes. You just dominated the game.
We did, but what did we do with the ball?
Yeah.
When it came to the danger areas, I don't know if you got those stats anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you had 17 shots, 4 on target. They had 14 shots and 5 on target, so they had less shots and they had more on target. So obviously they were more clinical.
It tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
The players, they was not up to scratch. It was a poor showing, and what it done is put us under a lot of pressure for our next game. That is a must-win game. You can't draw it. You can't lose it. You're already playing catch-up. You've not been backed by your boards. You're already behind in the transfer window. Everything can go bad. And if he loses to Brighton, sorry, I know you're not on Brighton yet, but I'm saying if he loses our next game to Brighton, all the Ollie outs are going to come out the woods, and it's going to be pressure. You know, the media love to hate Man United as it is, so all the twists it will come out. It's going to be horrible.
Isn't it funny? We're all sitting down here, Spurs, West Ham, Chelsea, Liverpool. We're all sitting down there thinking the same thing, that the media all hate us. Is it? It's not just us, is it? I mean,
they hate everyone but Liverpool. Liverpool. They love Liverpool.
They love it. Yeah, Tony, you, man. They love you, Tony.
Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you why. One thing. Let me just say one thing. You see, Liverpool. They walked the league. They was fantastic, amazing. How many points did they get? Beautiful, Liverpool. Man United come third. Oh, well, the only reason why they came third is because everyone else was crap.
Yeah.
Why wasn't everyone crap while Liverpool walked in? I don't understand the difference.
I think that the thing I said when you was on the show in the first week, remember, Cass, when I said to you that Man United are going to have the same weakness that Chelsea has, and that is their managers. That's the one thing where Arsenal have actually got something above them, because we've got a Jurgen Klopp-like manager in Arteta, who's tactically a brain of the game. Yeah. Pure banter right now, man. He's a brain of the game, and he has been for most of his career. But for me, that's the one weakness that Man United and Chelsea have, is that their managers are just not top-tier managers. Their teams, they've got good teams, especially Chelsea right now, spending 200 million. So Frank Lampard and Solskjaer are going to be on the cosh.
But can I say one thing to that? All right, look, with Lampard, fair enough. I don't buy into the Lampard thing. Sorry, Chelsea fans. Because Lampard came to Derby. He took him from 6th to 6th. He went to Chelsea. He took him from 3rd in Europa to 4th and no Europa. He lost to an 8th place Arsenal in the thingy, but he's a media darling. He's English. He's an English rose. He gets praise in the media.
That's a fair shout.
Solskjaer,
That's a fair shout.
he was absolutely berated from the minute he got the job. Everyone said he would not get past Christmas. He'll be sacked by Christmas. He's a PE teacher. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got the highest possible position you could get. You could not get higher than Man City. You could not get higher than Liverpool. But but all of a sudden he's so crap. Arteta's better. He was 8th, and for me, a realist, someone who looks at things with logic and sweeps away the bullshit. Oh, sorry, but for the language, sweeps away the rubbish.
All right, mate. That's all right.
I can't get my head around it. Why is the media not praising the guy who's a PE teacher and should have been sacked? Why are they not praising him? He got third.
Yeah, United.
Yeah, I think
Manchester United.
Another thing as well is silverware. Silverware comes into it in a big part. I mean, Arsenal. You mentioned Arteta. Arsenal was a car crash before he came in, and we've known from the Man City Amazon show, and actually I've known for quite a while that Arteta actually taught Pep a lot of things when he was his assistant. And if you listen to the players, De Bruyne, Sterling, I've gone through this before, Sane, you listen to the players, Mendy, they say the biggest improvement in their game was Mikel Arteta. So we know the proof is there. The fact is there that Arteta was always going to be a prodigy of Pep and someone who was going to kind of be the new Klopp. And you've seen what he's done with his tactics. You've seen him beat big teams on the back end of last year, City, Liverpool, what they turned over Wolves, and then they beat Chelsea in the final. So this isn't something that I'm bad to remember. Before he came in, we won 2 of our last 17. So he's had to put fires out everywhere and then get this team working, and that's what he's done.
I do get that. I get that, but hasn't Ole beat all the same teams and more times? And Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean the truth. We'll see against Liverpool next week, Billy, bro. We'll see, man.
I'm not getting this Klopp comparison with Arteta. Where does that come from?
Well, if you look at Tony, tell him what Klopp did when he first walked into Liverpool.
Look, Klopp changed the way that Liverpool are, right? He looked at the whole squad. It took him time because when the first year he came in, he was like rabbit in the headlights. He wasn't sure what was going on. So he came in and he had to change players. He knew he had to change players. The players that are playing for Liverpool now, 2 years ago, there's maybe a few of them there now. So he had to change the whole philosophy of the team. He had to get them in hard. He changed the whole thing. Looking at Arteta, it's early doors, for Arteta. Arsenal usually start after the season pretty good. They usually start off pretty good, and come January, February, that's when they have that lull. Yeah, and they've been doing it for the number of years now. So we got to give him a bit of time, And Ole has taken some fair stick. Yes, when he first came in, Man United won the first 8 games, and then they had that big slump, and he was questioned. And in the back end of last season, he done really well. And he gets they've lost 1 game in the league, man, and people are jumping and screaming about how he's got to go. You know,
It's
too early.
madness. It's madness.
It's early. It's early.
Yeah.
You can't tell him that Ollie go now. It
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. Give no
Luke,
time. You know?
Luke, you wanted to say something about United?
Cass, the reason why Ollie isn't immediate dollar anymore, he was, and then Rio Ferdinand decided to, on national TV, scream at the camera, give him a contract. Give that man a contract now. He deserves a contract. As soon as he done that, Ollie went, my job's done. It's 300 grand a week in my bank. That's it. I ain't got to try no more and whatever. And he was,
and
you know what? Ever since that, it was like the football gods just went, yeah, now you've had it easy now, son. No, here you go. Here's all the bad luck in the world. And that's unfortunately, if you look at the statistics, it's Ferdinand. Basically, don't blame the media. Blame Ferdinand because Ferdinand brought bad luck on his son. Yeah, it was, he had all the luck till then, and then bang, it's all gone downhill.
But that's the first game. Brighton's got Man United tomorrow at 12:30. And again, listen, when you come off a loss like that, Solskjaer's going to look for a result tomorrow. So, look what happened to Tottenham, man. Tottenham get beaten in the first game and they come back and absolutely went on the tear. And that's the response you're looking for, Cass.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
Hey, Brighton beat Arsenal twice last season.
I'm so scared because Brighton's a game you can win. You should win. There's no excuses. You should win, but you can lose. And I don't think we're up to speed yet. And do you know what's lucky with Manchester United? Look, Ollie's not a manager. He's not a manager. Yeah, like he hasn't got a name or anything like that. So he's already walked into it. Everything's against him. But if he loses this game, he's going to get slaughtered. But the thing is, the reason why the lucky thing we have is there's no fans in the stadium because you can get on with your job without getting booed, without getting battered. And
everybody's smiling. Look, everyone's agreeing with you.
Like we need this right now. The funny thing is, I can't believe how much we're under scrutiny and on the back foot already after such a great finish. And it wasn't written and spoke about as a great finish. Yeah. It was written as if it was lucky and we're so bad and so terrible. Look, I'll tell you quickly. Sorry, I know I bang on a bit, but with Manchester United, this is how I see Manchester United. Since Fergie left, we had an absolute clown, the next best thing called David Moyes. I don't know what happened there. We won't speak about that. Then we had LVG, yeah? You don't go from Alex Ferguson football to LVG football. That was the worst football I've ever witnessed in my life. I was using my own body to push the players forward on the pitch to shoot. It was so bad. Then we went from that straight into Jose Mourinho. Oh, that was a treat. All that parking the bus, that was a treat for us.
Look at Andy's face.
Honestly, we've gone from Alex Ferguson football to the 3 worst forms of football I've ever lived through. Yeah. Then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer come in. I get it. He's a PE teacher. But you know, all the players that they brought in with the wrong attitudes, the wrong type of players, he started to get those players out instantly. Get out of it. No long ball over here, mate. He got rid of Sanchez. He's got rid of a lot of junk. He's trying to get rid of more junk, but we can't sell them because Ed Woodward is a genius and puts them all on thousands and thousands of pounds, so they don't want to take a drop. He is cleaning up our club beautifully. He's making signings I'm happy with. The only problem we have, and we will never recover, we will never be Manchester United ever again because we have that board. It's not so much the Glazers. They did put money in, I get that, but they gave it to that board. That board are shocking. They didn't get Jose his players. They didn't get LVG his players. Now they're not getting Ollie his players. We will never be Manchester United again while we have that board.
I hear you, bro. Luke, we're going to go on to our...
But I do think, though, a lot of times fans are very unreasonable. So even in the pandemic, people expect money to go out and spend £100 million for Sandro. Who in their right mind is going to do that in this environment? I don't care what Dortmund want. I would not be taking my money to spend £100 million in this environment for any player. That's why Barcelona and Real Madrid are struggling because they overspend for years. And right now, and just like you mentioned, most teams in the top 10 have overpaid players We can't get with our players. We can't get with Mustafi. We can't get anything. But they all overpaid. All the top 8, top 6 teams overpaid.
Yeah, Liverpool. You got to say Liverpool as well. You got to put Liverpool in there, mate.
Well, I would agree with Liverpool.
Yeah, you paid 90 million for Salah, Mane, Firmino. You've spent money well there.
No, but I think Klopp is a great evaluator of talent. People seem to realize that. Klopp plays against Southampton, just like how Emira's trying to do. Play against Southampton, see Mane and say, you know what? I have to have him. See Salah and say, I have to have him for 30-something million pounds. Because what he's done is, he's not buying, he only buys players for 100 million or 70 million. That's going to complete his team between his goalkeeper and Van Dijk. He doesn't spend 70 million pounds for every player. So it's a smart plan, Man U. I don't disagree with something that Man U have done. But don't be pushing your team to spend 100 million pounds and then next year they're struggling to pay their bills.
Because they spent a lot of money.
Forget the 100 million. You're right. You're correct. Don't pay that money. Buy someone else. Why is it taking the whole sum? You've had the whole of lockdown to work out you don't want to spend 100 million.
Yeah, it's got no plan B.
Why have you not bought someone cheaper?
Yeah, no plan B. I hear you. Luke, Arsenal to West Ham. Sorry, go on, Andy.
Just quickly, before you go off the Man United thing, the one player they need to watch out for at Brighton tomorrow, Tariq Lamptey.
Yeah.
He's a big player for the future. He's
big time.
He's someone that they need to keep an eye on. He's top class, that boy.
All right, so Luke, Arsenal 2, West Ham 1, and we really shouldn't have won that game, shouldn't we? But you had 14 shots on goal. We had 14 shots on goal. We had 7. It's the second week in a row that you've had more shots than the opposition.
Do you know what? There's most West Ham fans say there's 2 West Ham fans. It's like yin and yang. You're either really bad or you're really good. And most of the time, West Ham don't come out with a result, quite a lot of it. So I'm not in the least bit surprised that we lost that game, to be honest, because that had us losing written all over it. But we've hit the bar 3 times in 2 games. And there's a few chances where you just look at it, you go, our luck ain't in. I think there was a cross which hit Antonio's leg, hit the Arsenal defender, went straight into Leno's hands from a yard out. And it was just certain situations where you look at the game, you're thinking, it was, for me, it was an even game. Any team could have won it.
I wouldn't say even. I thought we were doing live match day commentary and saying, "How is West Ham not winning this game?"
I know.
And don't forget, you should have got a penalty as well.
Yeah, you should have got a penalty. Yeah, I was. Even Bertram was saying to me, "Apollo, I don't care. That's a penalty." He handballed. It didn't even hit his head. It hit.
He closed his eyes.
I was screaming at the TV, and the worst thing was the game previous, they gave a penalty for the exact same situation with Lindelof. And it was like, well, again, where's the consistency? I think VAR is a good thing. I think VAR will get there, but we're not running it as properly as it should be. That's another conversation another time. But at the moment, David Moyes is not being very consistent with his subs. So he's taken a long time to make subs, and he's making them around the 75th, 80th, almost like he doesn't want to make them. He's making them because he has to make them.
Yeah.
And we were such a tight knit unit during that game. Even I didn't want us to make a sub because I thought once we do it, we're gonna mess with the equilibrium here. It's gonna go wrong. And lo and behold, the one guy who was keeping it together on the right was Jared Bowen, and he might have been out of breath, he might have been this, and he might have been that, but I don't think he was the right player to take off at that point. And you see that the substitute who come on, Yarmolenko, literally watches Cabellos make the run into the box and then pass it to Nketiah. And you just go, if that had been Bowen, that run might not have been made, and it would have been 1-1. But it was one of those games where it was, for me, it was down to luck. You know, but to saying that, I've always said it. The top teams know how to win games, and Arsenal knew how to win that game. They got the chance, and they took it. We had chances, we didn't take it. It's as simple as that. And for me, just like someone said, the better teams lost, and I'm happy to take that. It's nice to hear that as a West Ham fan, but fundamentally, you got to win these games, and Arsenal did. So fair play.
So what's happened to Fornells? He was the big buy last season. He just hasn't turned up, has he?
Do you know what it is with him? Because this is what I said to quite a few fans. It's a lot like Felipe Anderson. When you've got 2 players like that who aren't workhorses, they're flair players. You want them when you're a team that's chasing the top 6, right? So if Wolves are signed, and they might use them a bit better. They're also confidence players, so they need to have players sort of not doing the legs for them, but they've got the technical ability, but they need kind of other players to support. And for me, Fornals has never really been played consistently in his best position, which is attacking midfield. And he's a little bit lightweight, and he doesn't know what to do exact same time, but that comes with almost like practice makes perfect. So if you've got a run of games in his position, he might come good after a few games. But he's had a few good games here and there. He's still getting used to the league. He's not used to physicality and any intensity yet. You can tell that. But it's a lot like Felipe Anderson. He was at times he can be absolutely unplayable. He can nutmeg players for fun. He's on fire in some games, but in other games he goes missing. He doesn't want to make a tackle. It's like he goes cold. So we've signed 2 players who, on their day, are brilliant players, but they're probably going to be better not in a West Ham team where we currently are. We've just come out of fighting relegation, and you don't want them players when you fight relegation. Now we've got a clean slate where, not being funny, we've lost 3 players, and due to our owners being cheapskates, we've lost 3 players. We've now got less players and no more players, if you know what I mean. So now Moyes is like his hands are tied, and he's trying to make the best he can with a degraded squad. So,
well, Andrew's saying here, West Ham should be making a move for Lacazette if Arsenal are willing to sell. Could be done.
I'm not being funny. We were after Lacazette about.
I know. I remember.
And he basically just went, "Nah, for North London, mate."
Nah.
So,
Oh my God.
Take that out.
Anybody else want to chime in before? Anybody want to chime in before we go to Andy?
Yeah, I'll just say a quick one. I was watching this game with one of my friends. He's a West Ham fan as well, and he literally said, even when West Ham were on top of the game, he was saying to me, "We ain't winning this. We're not going to win this. This is typical West Ham, which is play well. Regardless of how good West Ham play, they just, we won't win." And lo and behold, the result is what it is. And
do you know what? It's sorry, mate. It's quite funny. I was watching the TV in the house. And Ned scored the winner, and I was going, "Oh, that's offside. That's got to be offside." Me not knowing the rules like a dickhead. And then outside, my girlfriend's having a flag outside, and she's coming going, "Did someone score? Have you won?" I said, "Oh, no, what are you talking about?" He goes, "Oh, some bloke 2 doors down has gone, get in there." And I thought he'd definitely an Arsenal fan, isn't he? Because I ain't celebrating.
Throwing some eggs at his window.
Yeah.
Promoting that, by the way, people. So, guys, we've got the holy smoke, Andy. What the hell happened here? I went for a 1-1 draw. Before you say something, Andy, wow. Southampton had 14 shots to Spurs 9. They had 7 shots on target to Spurs 6. They had 53% possession, more passes, more passing accuracy, more corners. What? 4 assists for Harry Kane? That's more than he had last season.
So, Andy, before you jump in, Andy, I want to say this before you jump in, Andy, which is, Apollo like to quote these stats, and I keep telling him there are stats, and then there's effective stats. So this whole thing about Man U having 70% possession, we're talking about in that previous game, ineffective possession doesn't mean anything. Spurs show that. You have the right stats. Sorry, Andy.
There's a very, very famous quote about there are lies, damn lies, and statistics. It's a very famous quote. And that basically it was not too dissimilar to the Everton game, in that actually Southampton were completely the better side. They totally were on top the first half, and they should have been further ahead than 1-0. And then we got an undeserved equaliser right on the stroke of half time. Half time it was 1-1.
Yeah, actually, it was 2 minutes into injury time you got the goal, mate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, we didn't deserve the equaliser, but we got it at the perfect time, right on the stroke of half time. And suddenly, Mourinho gets to give a team talk, not behind after playing terribly, not unlike we played against Everton the week before. And then all of a sudden, we came out, we got an early goal to go 2-1 up. And then suddenly, Southampton just sort of like, they were trying to play if you've got someone like Heung-min Son that can run in behind, that loves running in behind, Southampton were playing such a high line up near the halfway line. Yeah. And all that happened is the ball kept coming into Kane. Kane dropped off 10 yards. It was obviously a clear tactic they decided at half time that Kane was going to drop into a sort of number 10 role. He dropped off a bit. Son went long. Kane was picking up the ball a bit deeper. They didn't want to come with him. and then he was just pinging balls in over the top for.
It was ridiculous.
And literally, I don't know why someone in the Southampton sort of coaching staff didn't just tell their defenders to drop off 10 yards.
Too much
That's all they needed to do. It was a crazy thing, but really, we ended up running out easy winners in a game where really we weren't the better side. It was until the second half when we started knocking the goals in, and they got a bit demoralised. But you know, it was a bit of a strange game. But yes, Kane's passing was excellent, and Son's finishing is different class. I mean, that guy's ratio of finishes to chances that he gets is very, very high. And,
Spurs fans don't agree with me when I say Son is their best player. I've been saying that for over a year now.
I'm not sure whether he's our best player, but he is a very consistent finisher.
There's actually a statistic that they win more games when Kane's not there and Son is the main man than not, which is very strange.
I don't think that's true. I think there was a statistic for a certain period of time when Kane was out once, when that was true. But I think overall, if you look at all the games, Spurs' record without Kane isn't that great.
I think arguably he's the most consistent. He's very consistent. I'm not sure if he's the most important, but he's very, very consistent. But what done with Southampton, all the goals were all the same. I don't know what Hasselholten was doing. And I don't know. They just was sitting back and just allowing it to happen.
Did you see Danny Ince's goal where the ball came over from the right?
That was a class finish.
Yeah, beautiful finish. But they just opened. Tottenham second half. I said Hasselholten just was standing there and just allowing it to happen. It was weird. It was bizarre because after they scored 2 goals like that, you would thought they would have looked at it and dropped, but just allowed it to happen. But
I think Apollo mentioned previously about Arteta. The great managers can do in-game management. They don't have to give the instruction at the beginning of the game and then at the end of the game, you know, give a perspective as to what transpired. They actually managing in the game. And as you're right, Southampton missed some easy chances. I think Adams missed like 2 sitters, frankly. But the fact of the matter is there's no way you can give up all that goals and not realize I got to change how I construct my team and how I play. You have your team playing high up the field. You're not Man City. We dominate possession in the first place. And the ball's playing with the top. And you're still doing the same thing over and over. You should be fired, frankly. It's negligence.
I agree. I mean, the thing is, the thing is, Cass, they got rolled over 9-0. Remember last season? Leicester?
And then they went on the run.
But then they had 10 men, right? There was a 10-man team or a 9-man team. You can understand that. Just like how we saw West Brom lose the other day with 10 men and Chelsea lose with 10 men. It happens. But not when you're playing 11 against 11 the way the game transpired. That made no sense to me.
Yeah, true.
The thing about Jose is, Jose obviously he's got the quality, he's got the pedigree, but he's a lucky manager. You know, he gets very lucky. In the Europa against that team, there's no chance I'm going to pronounce that name, but their last Europa, the 2 red cards. Otherwise, they was out. I thought they Like when he needs something, he gets.
I mean, the thing about me when it comes to managers like that, like Mourinho and Pep Guardiola, I always challenge when people say they're the greatest managers of our time because, you know, Ferguson made 1 good buy every season. Wenger hardly ever spent any money. And you look at the amount, you know, Pep's, what's he spent? 1.4 billion as a manager. Yeah. Mourinho, 1.1 billion. It's almost like they're playing fantasy football, those two. I mean, they go to teams where they know have got great players or they're going to spend money. Sometimes they go to teams and don't even do anything. I mean, look at Pep with Bayern Munich. You know, obviously we know what Mourinho's past has been like. But it's almost like to truly rate them as a great manager, you've got to build it from the ground up. Pep in his early days at Barcelona, Mourinho when he was at Porto, and even at Inter Milan. He took over Inter Milan and won the Champions League, and that team was nowhere near Champions League quality. But it's just, you see what they do with all these, I'm going to a team, I'm going to spend 100, 200, 300 million. And it's just like, come on, man. Come on, seriously.
Can I say one thing, though? This is my thing that I always have a debate with. I personally think you can rate, maybe not now, because football might have moved on, but you can actually say Mourinho is the best manager. Well, you can say definitely he's better than Pep. I would say Jose Mourinho is better than Pep, and I'll tell you why I'd say that. The reason why I say that is you give Jose Mourinho a rubbish team, not a rubbish team, but a lesser team. He can get a song out of them. He can set them up to win something, a cup, something. You give Pep anything but the absolute best, he can't play that football. He couldn't take that football down to Watford or Stoke or another team and try and play that football. He'll get kicked off the park. When he first came in, he took over Man City when the previous season they didn't win it, but the season before that, they had won the league. He was dreadful. He had to buy a whole new team.
Yeah, in fact, he spent 100 and something million on Mendy and Kyle Walker. The team didn't have any fullbacks, and he fixed the problem in one summer with the wave of a checkbook. It was ridiculous. It was like, whoa.
Yeah, but guys, look, they're all good managers, right? They're good managers. There's degrees here. So Pep has never demonstrated he can win without quality, but he hasn't had to do so because he had Messi at Barca. Right. We talk about Jose. Jose has proved he's a very good manager. You don't win at Porto and Inter and win at Chelsea without being a good manager. But when you're good, you get good. You're going to demand money and players, and you get that.
Exactly, yes.
But the question is, I say Klopp is an excellent manager. He's proven it with less resources. He has done it his way. He wins the Champions League. He wins the league, but Liverpool has won for eons. So he's demonstrated that his ability to assess talent, which is one of the most important criteria you can have, and put the talent in the field and play in a system and win, suggests, to me, he's the best of the lot and the best after Ferguson.
So, guys,
I think we could only judge. I think we could only judge Pep on that because who's he managed? Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Man City. You know,
but when he overmanages, though, right? When he gets to a certain stage in certain competition, he overmanages. He was awful against Leon.
Yeah,
I could do a better job than him against Leon. He was awful.
Yeah, he overmanaged it, and some
so he
managers
overmanages, and that's why they don't get far in the Champions League because he overmanages.
So
I'll tell you this: you give Jose Mourinho that Man City team, he wins the Champions League. Pep does not. He has not.
Ooh. I might have agreed with you 5 or 6 years ago, but I'm not sure. It's a good statement. That's a good point. And you've raised some interesting points which have made me actually double think. I've just got this block against Mourinho. I just don't respect the guy because of what he said to Wenger. There's an unwritten rule in football that you don't talk about managers like that. They know the game.
Yeah. He was wrong.
I can't really talk about Jose Mourinho. I'm the wrong guy who's going to give you advice on him. But guys, Tony, what did you think? Brighton. I actually went Newcastle 2-1 here.
Yeah, I thought Newcastle would get this one.
Mopé, 2 goals.
I didn't see this one. I had Newcastle winning it, but it's interesting. We're seeing some of the stars that are in the making produce very early on in the season. Sometimes it takes players a little while to get up to speed, but in Neil Mopé, they definitely got a star there. Good player.
Yeah, Barcelona won him.
Yeah, very good player, and took his goals well.
Bertrand, what did you think of this one? Did you get this one right?
No, I had it 2-2. I thought it would be a stalemate. I didn't watch all the game, but portions I watched, it was decent. Brighton is better than people think they are. They weren't terrible against Chelsea. They played Chelsea in preseason and drew 1-1. Then they played him in the league and they lost. But they played decent in that game. So I'm not totally shocked by Brighton, and I'm sure people like Ben White will help them. So I'm not shocked by them. I do think, though, and I think they'll stay up, frankly. But I expect Newcastle to do better. I mean, Newcastle has bought well. I thought those players would come to the forefront, and they didn't. So a little bit surprised. The score was surprising.
Yeah, what about you, Dave? What's your thoughts on this one?
It's the guy that we let go. The guy who wanted to play first team football, Tariq Lamptey. You watch that game and you watch the energy this guy brings to that team, and I think teams are going to be game planning around him now of how to stop him, making those runs, because 2 of the goals come from him, and his energy and his work rate, and he's a name now that's going to be on the tip of every fan's tongues now. Every time Brighton play, you're going to be looking at Tariq Lamptey now.
Luke, what was your thoughts on this game? Did you get that one right? Did you think Brighton was for the good, or obviously you played Newcastle?
Yeah, do you know what? This game really annoyed me because I thought, why couldn't Newcastle be this crap when we played them? But then, that's just our luck. That's just the luck we've got. But yeah, two goals in the first 10 minutes when they scored. Yeah. And then Lamptey was just like an absolute wrecking ball, mate. He was just going free. Nothing was stopping him. And then, which is pure luck for a player like that, he's actually taken out in the second half and then before half time, and had to take him off. Brighton's kit's really nice. I don't know if everyone realised that. I've Brighton fan, I'm straight on the old market. Really, I was shocked getting that for myself. But it was one of them sort of games where I think that, that is typical football. The previous game, they get battered by Chelsea and lose 3-1, and Newcastle win the first game 2-0. I don't think any fan saw 3-0 Brighton. No. If you did, then you're a better man than me, because betting wise, I've never had that. Over 2 goals maybe, but not 3-0 Brighton. But it's been very, very interesting because I think Newcastle. Who's the manager? Steve Bruce. I think he's been very good there. But as far as I know, every Newcastle fan doesn't like him. They think he's really boring. But I'm not a Newcastle fan. I can't talk because when Allardyce was manager at West Ham.
I think that's because they let go Benitez. When you let go Benitez for Bruce, it's never a good sign. No. What about you, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, I think Brighton are a very entertaining team to watch. I think he's got a nice style of football. I think he's tactically quite good, but then they're probably not going to trouble the top teams or the top half of the table. But I could still see them finishing comfortably mid-table. I think they're a decent side, Brighton. I wouldn't have expected them to go to Newcastle and win after Newcastle's first day, so I didn't see this result coming. But I still think that they're a decent side. I don't think anyone's going to roll them over. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on against United. That'll be an interesting match tomorrow to see whether they can sort of keep that sort of form going against United, because I think United have got just a little bit behind everyone else pre-season wise, because they went quite deep into the European competition, so they finished later than everybody else. So I think United have a bit of catching up to do. But
what about you, Cass? What about this one? You worried about Brighton?
I'm very worried about Brighton. It's definitely a banana skin. I didn't see 3-0. I thought it'd be a draw, if I'm honest. I didn't know what score, maybe 1-1, maybe 2-2, but I thought it'd be a draw. And they're coming into the Man United game with lots of confidence and knowing that we're behind on fitness. And they're gonna be rampant, man. I'm very scared. I might not be back on the show next week because I'm gonna
be. Tony, what about you on Brighton? Where were your thoughts on that one?
I had you from 2-0. I didn't see this coming, to be fair. But you know what? I think this is where you get from Newcastle. I think you get the good and the bad throughout the season. You never know. You're never going to be sure what you're going to get. With Brighton, I guess you won't be surprised at whatever score they get. If they play the lower teams, they wouldn't be surprised. If they get beaten by the, you wouldn't be surprised. But I think
they've got one thing that a lot of teams don't have, which is a goal scorer. You're always going to be there with a goal scorer.
Yeah, but Newcastle now, they should have with Callum Wilson. Newcastle have got a decent team, and I think Bruce, if Newcastle don't win their next 2 or 3 games, he's going to be under pressure already.
Agreed. So, guys, we're going to move on to, I had this at 2-2, and Liverpool just showed their mettle here. Tony, let me go to you before I go to Dave.
Me?
Yeah, talk, tell us about your boys, man.
Well, I still don't even think we're about 70%,
That's good news for Arsenal fans.
Yeah. I still don't think we're firing on all cylinders. I think there's we were solid against Chelsea. Obviously, when they went to 10 men, it makes it a bit easier for us. And after gifted us the second goal, we kind of controlled it. But then, Chelsea came into it a bit. Thiago looked like he's been playing for us for 3 or 4 seasons, because when he came on, he just was stroking the ball around. and he gives us another dimension. Sometimes we could go quick, or we can, we can take our time and pass through. But I think we're looking all right, but I still think we're 70%. And the game against Arsenal, I think it's going to be tough for us. I don't think it's going to be like, the usual seasons where we win 3-1, 4-1. It won't be like that. I think it's going to be a lot more tighter. I think we'll fear Arsenal more than we did the last few seasons. But I think we're about 70%, so you might have a chance. Might.
Yeah, that's definitely good news for Arsenal fans.
Yeah. We'll still beat you at 100%. Yeah.
Dave, what happened here? Dave, you were on top of the game. You got the red card.
Listen, this talk about there's quite a bit to talk about here. First of all, tactically, I don't think we got it right. I think we're a home side, and we went to sit back and almost try to counter, almost try to play quickly up the pitch, and it's not going to work. I didn't think it worked. I think we contained it. It's almost like he took a book out of the Mourinho, like a chapter out of the Mourinho book, and thought, all right, we're just try and keep them in front of us, and we'll nick a goal. We had Havertz playing as a false 9. We had Werner out on the left. I think it looked like Lampard kind of threw together a team, to be honest with you. And I think after Christensen went off, it went out the window. I think every Chelsea fan knew, the game was done. Just some key points to make because I know I'm conscious of time. Christensen, I'm done with him. Not just because of last game, but all through the rest of the last season. He's simply not good enough for Chelsea. Kepa, listen, I'm not gonna say anything on that guy. He might be a talented keeper underneath, but he's not right for Chelsea. And
why didn't you buy Martinez, or why didn't you put in an offer for Leno?
Because we're not going to buy them. If they're not good enough, if one of them's not good enough for you, why are they going to be good enough for Chelsea?
Well, Martinez was. We just sold him, and we don't know why we did.
Come on, listen. Listen, all I'm going to say is, Edward, we've got Edouard Mendy now. So the last keeper that we got from Rennes was Petter. So let's hope he can replicate that. And I just want to say on kind of like your point about half hour ago about Lampard, and he could be our weakness. He might be our weakness in some stages. I think he needs to learn a little bit more this season. We're not going to win the league this year. We may, because Liverpool and City are going to be too strong for us. I think third place is reasonable, but I think this year is about trying to embed the team in, and then hopefully just trying to get that philosophy back in Lampard. And another thing I want to say to the United fan, by the way, it was gunning for Lampard. Remember how much you spent last year?
We spent?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
200 mil, but yet we spend 200 mil, and it's like, Chelsea should be winning the league. We got to do better. Like, it's not, they got a third place finish last year with 200 mil, and there was no media on them. They were loving Ollie for parts of that season. Why is everyone gunning for Lampard now because he spent 200 mil? Ollie done that last season.
You spent 200 mil, but you got 6 players. We spent it on 3 players, and your players that you bought was better.
So I want to say something. I don't agree that Chelsea didn't get it right. I thought Chelsea got it right. There's about execution. So think about the game, which is you try to play Man U and Man City, play their game, they destroy you. So they have better players. Timo Werner had 3 one-on-ones and he can't get by the defender. That's ridiculous. Just like we did last year with Pepe. When Emery went to Liverpool, we isolated Pepe and Van Dijk. He got by him and didn't score. Changes the game. Liverpool didn't get a lot of chances to score in that game. They weren't not like before in games where they get 4, 5, 6 chances. They didn't. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh.
No, that's sorry.
All right. Yeah. Sorry, I've had to cut him off there.
Yeah. Let me reply to that because I think
if you fixed it, Bertram.
No. We get a beat from the city that some person probably did something wrong, so they sent it to everyone in New York. No, but the point I'm trying to make is this: is that I think you guys are giving the manager who was young because he got his job early a raw deal. Frankly, He played the right approach against Liverpool. They're an exceptional team. They won Champions League 2 years ago, and they won the league in a canter last year. They're an exceptional team. So what's the strategy? Play their game and they destroy you, and everyone says, well, you tried really well and you look good. Or you do what Arsenal does, what Arteta does, which is play 5 at the back, 4 midfielders and 3 defenders, pack it in, let them go wide. You hope you can do well on the crosses, and you isolate your 3 players up front. If they're skillful enough, have them go to the defenders. Yeah. I didn't think he got it wrong.
Let me reply to that, because I think the biggest template that we can look for the Chelsea-Liverpool game is what we done in the European Super Cup, when it was actually a competitive game still, and we drew. And Chelsea looked pretty good in that game, and we weren't sitting back. It was very end to end, and in some parts we actually looked better than Liverpool in that European Super Cup game. Yeah. So that is when you're at home and you're side like Chelsea, we expect teams to come out. I think it kind of, he went for the Mourinho kind of rule book there, and fair enough. If you want the result, that's fair enough. But I think with us, and one of the reasons why we like Lampard is his style of play, the chances that Chelsea normally create in games every single week, and I think that's the kind of football that we want to see. We don't want him to revert into his mentor Mourinho at times, where he thinks, right, we're playing a Liverpool, we're playing a City, and we're gonna hold back.
I just think that's a different game if he doesn't get sent off at half time. I just think
I think football is backwards. I think there should be no sport where you lose a player in the first minute for a red card and you play 90 minutes without a player in your team. It's ridiculous.
That's hockey, man. Hockey, send him to the sin bin for 5 minutes.
1920s. I'm sorry. That's why the US here, we actually try to figure out a way to make the sports competitive and not be. It's really asinine, frankly.
Yeah,
at least that's my perspective.
I think we're being a little bit harsh on Chelsea, to be honest, because you still got to remember they're bedding in. Timo Werner is not ready for this league yet. Yet the pressure is on him, and Kai Havertz is also not quite ready.
Yeah, you got to give him time.
Listen, you got your second game in. You're playing the league champions. You can't expect to be playing that expansive football that Liverpool are going to go toe to toe with them. You kind of got to consolidate and say, hang on a second, let's just try and hold this and counter-attack until we sorted our system out. When even Arteta, when he first came, we kept getting draws and wins, draws and lots of draws, lots of draws. And it's taken a little while to embed his system. And I'm sure Chelsea are going to do the same with Werner and Havertz. They just simply got the wrong team at the wrong point in their season.
Okay.
I know I said about Lampard, but I don't mean it like that. I think I've misdirected it. I actually don't think Lampard is a bad manager at all. So I take that back. I think Oli, Lampard, and Arteta, you have to let them have their time. I think you have to let them have their time.
Yes.
And their new managers, they're clean slate. They're going to learn as they go. I don't think that they're bad at all. The only reason why I said that was, obviously, in the media. I meant more the media than the fans. The media paid Lampard as he's done so well, and Oli as he's done so bad. And I'm just trying to say that I don't understand how they're so different. I just don't get that part of it. But I do rate the way Lampard goes at games.
They're taking on big jobs. With Wenger, Ferguson, Mourinho, they're taking on big shoes to fill in those 3 clubs, man. Guys, Leicester 4, Burnley 2, a bit of run of the mill there.
Can I just say something about Chelsea Liverpool? Sorry.
Yeah, go on, Andy.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that the Chelsea thing's an interesting one because they have bought serious quality players. I mean, Ziyech, Werner, Havertz, Chilwell, Mendy, Silva. These are top quality players. These are not rubbish players. I think they've bought well. What Lampard's got to do is try and find a system where he can get the best out of those players. And at the moment, I don't think he's got that. Plus, because many of them have come from foreign leagues, they're just beginning to realise the difference in the physicality between, say, some of those other leagues that they play in and the Premier League. It will take them time. The boys are young enough. Havertz and Werner, they're young enough to build up, get a bit more physical. They'll do it. But I think it could be the second half of the season where you see Chelsea improve. Liverpool, the the purchase of Thiago Alcantara, that is a top purchase. When he came on, he was different class. He was really, really. I think he had more. Am I right in saying? I think he had more touches, more passes, or more touches than any other player ever. He broke record or something. Unbelievable. He just ran the game when he came on. Obviously, because they were playing against 10 men, it made it that much easier because Liverpool had more of the ball. But I just think that's a seriously good purchase to strengthen the Liverpool squad. So I think that with Chelsea. Sorry?
I think it's unfair.
Man. Definitely. So, guys, listen. Let's try.
Sorry, Andy.
Let's chime in and talk about Leicester. I'm going to open up the floor here because we've got to zoom through the last 3 results. So, as you can see, I got this one right, but I wasn't expecting a 6-goal fest. Tony, where did you see this one?
Saw Leicester winning this all day. Figured they would score a few goals as well. To be honest, I had it like 2 or 3-0 for Leicester, but Burnley battled hard. Got a couple of goals in return. But yeah, Leicester all day.
Bertram, this makes our result against Leicester at home look even better in the cup on the midweek.
Yeah, but there are 2 different teams, right? We changed a lot of players. I picked Leicester.
So did we. So did we.
But we have a better squad actually than Leicester. Even though I think they will they'll probably make a few purchases before the window closes. I had them winning 2-1. They better hope Vardy doesn't get hurt, or else they're going to be challenged actually. Unlike most of the other teams who have ridiculous forward lines, if you think about Spurs and us and Liverpool, Man City, even Wolves, they don't have the same diversity of players in terms of the ability that you need, even Man U, frankly, to compete. So, and they rely on Vardy too much. Actually, they need more scorers around him. And Ndidi's now hurt and out for a while. So that they lost Chilwell, they lost Ndidi. Ricardo doesn't come back. They have a lot of players out still, so it's going to be challenging for them in the first half of the season. They get their players back. We'll see what happens.
Andrew says apparently Burnley had several injuries. Dave, how did you see that one?
I'm surprised of obviously the amount of goals, but I think Leicester, like Bertrand said, they rely on Vardy. Vardy's their main guy. He's aging as well, but the guy just scores. He's so consistent. He's a fantasy player's dream.
He didn't score.
Did he not? I thought he scored. Did he not?
No, he didn't. He didn't.
My bad.
Luke, where did you see this one, mate?
Well, Tarkowski was being linked with a move for us and then didn't play for Burnley. They conceded 4 goals. So if we do get it, maybe
Leicester have bid 30 million for Tarkowski today.
Oh, the bastards.
Leicester has the Chilwell money. They have Chilwell money. They can spend the Chilwell money. Thank Chelsea.
Leicester are a funny team because it was when they won the league, I was really behind them, and then since then, Vardy's just been a bit of a dick. He's just a bit of annoying. He just going.
I'm with you because he never signed for us.
No, exactly. He's the Red Bull nugget. He just keeps going. His little ferret up front, and he keeps scoring. Mainly against West Ham as well. To be fair, that's why I don't like him either. But yeah, it was as much as 4-4-2 isn't a normal win. It was it wasn't anything surprising. I think Leicester will be good challengers for top 5 this year though.
Agreed.
I'm not sure where Burnley. Burnley. I'm not sure if Burnley are going to finish any higher than maybe 8th this year, but it'd be interesting to see where they go because I don't think they can keep fighting relegation and mid-table with Sean Dyche. I think he's made for more. So, normal win didn't need to be 4-2, but yeah, it was. So fair play to the Leicester, really.
I think the problem, Andy, with Burnley is they've always been strong at home and they've been god awful away, and that's how they've survived in the league so far.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think Burnley could struggle a bit this year because I think they keep just finding enough a string of results at a certain point in the season to get them mid-table every year. But I've got a feeling that they might struggle, particularly if they do sell Tarkowski. I think that will affect them at the back, and it might take them time for any new replacement to bed in. It looks like Tarkowski's going to go, whether it's West Ham that get him or Leicester that get him or someone else. If he goes, I think Burnley might struggle a bit this season. I think they'll probably just about survive, but I think they could be in a relegation battle this year, Burnley.
Yeah, would you agree with that, Cass?
Maybe they will be down. They will be towards the bottom of the mid-table, I think. In terms of the result, I thought it was going to be about 2-3-0 Leicester. I actually expected the win. Yeah, but Burnley, I don't see them being much of a threat. But yeah, bottom of the mid-table, I think.
Yeah, Tony. Last week I talked about the likes of Wolves, Sheffield, United. Who did I mention in there? I talked about Leicester and I talked about Burnley, and those are the four teams that finish inside the top 10, including Everton, actually. And I said the ones that are out there improving their squads because the season's more condensed. The ones that are out there improving their squads are going to improve. The ones that are having thin squads are going to suffer. And Burnley, unfortunately, are going to suffer.
Yeah, for me, this is Darcy's last year with Burnley. You know, listening to the news and everything else, you can see he's not happy about being to sign players or whatever. So for me, I think this is going to be his last season. Burnley, yeah, I think they're going to be, 11th, 12th, and I think that's going to be it for him. Leicester, I think Leicester will finish in the top 8. I don't think they won't finish 5th. I don't think Leicester finish 5th this season. I just don't think they'll be strong enough this season. Too many other good teams in there. But for me, Burnley, Dicey's out of there. Maybe before the end of the season.
Yeah, true.
Good shout.
Yes, it is. Yes, good shout, guys. This I have to say something here. How many saves did Martinez make, and then the penalty save as well, which is just dominant. I said, in my opinion, I think he's probably right now the best goalie in the league, and I said that on the back end of last year. This guy is rock solid. He's imposing. He's the best goalie coming out for crosses. He's an amazing shot stopper. Villa got an amazing deal with this buy, and he goes in and puts a performance like that against a top 10 team. Villa, look. Last year, Villa was relegation fodder. We know a good goalkeeper can change you from 9 to 12 points. I think Villa are going to be for the good this season with a goalie like that in there. Great performance from Villa, great result, and I have to look at them now going forward. Tony, where did you see that one?
I picked Sheffield United to win that one, but I'm not going to overblow Aston Villa. They played 10 men for most of the game. You expect a team with a man advantage to win. So, look, they've now inherited a fantastic keeper who kept them in the game. That's what you got to look at. You're playing 10 men and your keeper keeps you in the game. That tells you all.
Yeah, that tells you all. Bertram.
I'm not sure people realize how good Martinez is. Even though with a small sample size last year, it was 10 games, 4 or 5 which were against top teams. He's excellent all around. He's a great shot stopper. He's great on crosses. He's huge. I think the Chelsea fan who said, well, why want to take like Arsenal reject? I haven't seen Mendy play in the Premier League, so I'm curious to see what Mendy looks like. But I'm telling you, we'll see as the season progresses how good Martinez was, because I wanted us to keep Martinez versus Leno. I thought he was just that good. When you have a short keeper in the back who can play with his feet, who speaks really well, who directs his team, that save against Trent Alexander-Arnold who played Liverpool was ridiculous.
Yeah,
and people are not seeing those things and realizing that the player has a lot of quality. I agree he's been here with us for 10 years, but sometimes, you know what? We miss talent right in front of us. And that's exactly what happened with him. Having said that, I did pick Villa to win 2-1. I think Sheffield will struggle this year. They're trying to buy a forward from us who hasn't played a first-team football, and they try to give us $3 million. We're not having that, even though he leaves at the end of the season. But I think they will struggle unless they get some creative players and some goal scorers. But I do think Villa will do well between Watkins. They just bought Traore. They will have a decent team, and Grealish will produce. They'll have a decent team that will compete. Not in the top 10, but they'll compete.
Yeah, they'll stay up. They'll be better. Dave, where did you see this one?
Yeah, it's the red card, and it does help when you have a good keeper. Obviously, listen, my kind of views on Martinez is he's a good keeper. There's nothing wrong. Oh, he showed it at the back end with Arsenal, how good he can be. The save against Trent, as you pointed out, outrageous. But it's one of those things where, you know, this year now is going to be his year to kind of shine. He's got that number one spot. He knows it's his number one spot now. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does, because keepers can go on little stretches where they're playing well. You know, this time he's got a full season to show himself. But you know, it always helps when you come in and you make your debut and then you save a penalty. You know, so he's going to be high on confidence now, and confidence is key for a goalkeeper.
It is funny. I do try to remind Arsenal fans that 2 years ago, me and Ebony were saying that he was the real deal then. And it's only since he got through that stretch of games that they were really paying attention. It's just one of them things, I guess. Luke, what did you think of this one? Did you get that one right?
I went for 0-0, I think, before the game. It was a game worthy of a 0-0. I don't think it's that impressive. It wasn't that entertaining. But just 2 quick points. I think the first one, the sending off, is the strangest sending off I think I've ever seen in the league, because technically it is. He's the last man. There's no way Watkins doesn't get to that ball unless he's holding him, holding on to him. But at the same point, it's like a really soft one because there's no real challenge. But then you see in the replay, he is pulling his shirt, which is a yellow card in itself, and he's completely all over the man. But when you watch it in real time, you're kind of going, it is a red card, but really? It's like red card you give. And the second point I've got a few Arsenal mates, and I remember specifically quite a few years ago saying Martinez was awful. And were they just talking rubbish, or is that I don't know anything about it?
I can tell you because I wasn't saying that a few years ago, especially in our Europa Cup run. Right. I wasn't saying that at all, mate.
I don't know anything about him. I think he's been in a couple 8 years or something like that. Apparently,
10 years.
Yeah. But no, fair play. It's great. It was a great save for the penalty. That was fantastic. Didn't take nothing away from him. And
does any of these two teams worry you as a West Ham fan? Because West Ham looked better than both of these teams on the weekend when I saw them play Arsenal.
Every team in the Premier League worries West Ham. West Ham worries West Ham. There's never money ever say West Ham worries West Ham. There's no way about that. But Villa worried us on the last day, and they kept up. And Sheffield United, they're going to go from strength to strength. The Chris Wilder's got a good handle on that team, and they're going to go far. But we've got to worry about ourselves. We can't worry about other teams. So we're worried about we're shitting ourselves. Not just worried, we're shitting ourselves, mate. You know about that?
Yeah. You're fighting, man. You're fighting, bro. You're fighting. Andy, where did you see this one?
I mean, I think Villa have bought quite well. I mean, I think Traore is a great purchase for them. He's a top striker, Bertrand Traore, and I think Martinez is an excellent acquisition with Watkins as well. I think, and they've still got Grealish and McGinn, who are right in the midfield as well. They've got some good players at Villa. I still think they're a little bit short at the back. So I think against the better teams they might come unstuck. But I think Villa will cause some teams some problems once those players start to gel. I think Sheffield United could be in for that tough second season syndrome. I do think if they don't add any firepower, I think they're trying to, but if they don't, then I think they're going to have a problem on their hands.
McGoldrick and Burke just aren't doing it. If they had a Danny Ings or something like that, it would be a different story. But
that would make a huge difference. You need to have a goal scorer, because you can't. They did so well last year because their goals against column that was so good that they had certainly until very near the end of the season. I think before lockdown they had like the second best defence for quite a long behind Liverpool. They had the second best defence until post lockdown. Then it all kind of went away for them. But I think they need to find a goal scorer. That's going to be Sheffield United's issue this season.
Yeah.
So Paul, I have a question actually, which is the theme seems to be that most teams are short at the back. Is it that they're short at the back, or the forward lines are just so much better nowadays?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think there's poor
defending has seriously gone downhill in the last 20 years.
I mean,
Yeah,
look, nobody wants to buy Koulibaly because he's 30 years old now and it's a ridiculous amount of money. Spurs are putting Eric Dyer back there at centre-back. You know what Arsenal's been doing with David Luiz, even though they've been amazing in the market with Saliba and Gabriel. Man United and Chelsea were all sorts at centre-back last season. There's just none available. I mean, where's the quality centre-backs? There just isn't any.
We're in for Skriniar. We're in for Skriniar today, apparently.
60
That
mil.
could be a game changer. That could be a game changer.
Yeah, could be. Cass, where did you see this one? 1-0 Sheffield United. Did you see Villa making out all the stops?
I actually guessed with a friend that I gave up betting. If I make the bet, 100% it don't come in. If I tell you the bet, it will come in. But yeah, my pal asked me for his accumulator. I said, dude, don't ask me. I said, but if I was to take a guess, I'd say 2-1 Sheffield United. I didn't think Villa would beat them, but they did. I didn't watch the game, if I'm honest, so I can't really comment much.
Villa looked good, man. Villa looked good.
Oh, they did? Okay. Well, I mean, I think Sheffield will finish above Villa. I think Sheffield United almost they did, but they almost, to a higher extent, overachieved last year. I don't know. I think they're both bottom end again of the middle table.
Yeah, Andrew's asked the question here, what is the fundamentals for a defender? Look at Arsenal's new purchase, Gabriel, and that will answer every single one of your questions.
Oh, leave it out.
That is the prototype guy who's looking for the right age. He's 22 years old. He's 6'4.5". He's got a strong aerial presence. He's quick. He plays the overlap well.
You need this.
Yeah,
you need that.
It doesn't get called for a handball. I mean, he's well rounded.
Tony.
Tony. I think we've got a defender who's quite good, but hey, he's not as good as Gabriel.
He's not 22 years old, that's for sure.
Well, don't worry about that. I had Villa beating Sheffield United 2-1. I said last week, Sheffield United, I think, will struggle this season. They'll be on the bottom half. Yeah, they'll be bottom half. I think they're really going to struggle. Villa look all right. Again, bottom half, as Kaz said, both teams are going to be bottom half of the season. Villa have some decent wins against some teams, and Sheffield United will put up a good defence against a few. Neither team really excite me.
So, guys, we're on the last one now, which is, you can see, I'm not going to comment on this because I completely ballsed it up. I went, and look, I'll tell you why. Wolves have got the best record against the top six in the last 2 years than any other team. When they play the big boys, they play to the metal, yeah? And they just absolutely cocked this one up. I have no idea what happened. I just messed this one up completely. Tony, what happened here, man?
Quite simple. Kevin De Bruyne. The man is a genius. The man is a genius. It was the Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden show. Look, those two guys were just on their metal. Pep he's got them ticking. He's got them ticking early. We were talking about Man United not having a preseason. Well, Man City also didn't have a preseason. But there is a marked difference between the two teams in terms of the way they came out of the traps on the first game. It worries me because I actually feel that this year De Bruyne could surpass Thierry Henry's assist record.
Yeah.
He looks phenomenal already.
Yeah, and thank God he's in my fantasy team. Bertram, I had a question for you. Yes, Bertram, Wolves, 1 shot on target. Man City, 9 shots on target.
I had the game, Man City winning 2-1. I thought Wolves came up very, very slow. Not sure why. They don't seem like to be at the races. And City they'll dominate you, especially if you're not at the races at the inception of the game, which they did actually. Wolves played better in the second half, but the scoreline didn't really reflect the run of play. I think City are bullies though, and when they run to Liverpool, it'll be a different game. Because I'm a huge Thiago fan. Anybody can make a 40-yard pass, no-look pass on the dime. To me, is a great play, and I watch him at Bayern, and I watch him at Barcelona, and he will change the Liverpool team. I'm also a big Henderson fan because Liverpool fans knock Henderson all the time, and Henderson's making 40-yard passes. So when people talk about well, 97% pass completion rate. I'm like, yeah, for a 2-yard pass, anybody can do that. Chad the ball 40 yards down the field to Mane, right over the defense, in stride. That's what impresses me. You got to take risks to get results. And I do think that when City plays Liverpool, it'd be interesting to see how that works out. Because last year, even though they destroyed Liverpool and won the games, Liverpool in that game played counter-attacking football. So people keep saying, oh, when Chelsea go play against Liverpool, they should have played their game. You have to play within the confines of what you have and also what the strategy allows you to do. And I do think that this year will be better because, as I said before, every single team, Spurs, for example, if Bale is healthy, Arsenal, Liverpool, look at those forward line. Everton with their midfield, even though they play 4 midfielders, not sure if that's going to work. But every team, attacking-wise, most of the teams, at least the ones in the top 8, have improved dramatically. So we'll see how City does this year because their defense is still not there. John Stone didn't get any pressure. That tells you everything.
I agree. Dave, where did you see this one?
I thought it would be a City win still. I think the thing with a lot of the big teams is that you want to get off to a good start, and I think City are. They just look like they haven't lost a step in some instances. I didn't watch the game, I'll be honest, but I think when you actually look at someone like Phil Foden coming in, and he's such a talent. When people are saying, "Oh, he's going to replace David Silva," I think I'm starting to believe it. Maybe not surpassing, but he looks like he can definitely do a job there. And also, they've got backup. They've got so many. Aguero gets injured, they get Jesus in. Who looks like a natural goal scorer as well. They've got so much depth in that team. It's outrageous. Mahrez was on the bench, didn't come on. I think.
Yeah, he didn't come on.
It's madness. These are players that start for maybe every other club apart from Liverpool. So it's crazy.
Yeah. And where did you see this one, Luke?
I was quite shocked actually. I thought Wolves would play a lot better than they did. But I think it was their defender made a bad tackle for their penalty, and they just stuck it away. And it was just it did surprise me how I think they were very slow. I think, like someone's mentioned, Wolves, they weren't the same high tempo team that we'd come to see, and maybe that's because Man City knew how to go against them and how to play the game. But I'd missed the second half, and I've heard the Wolves played really well in the second half. They were unlucky not to get at least an equaliser, and that Man City did look under the cushion in the second half compared to the first. But Wolves are a team that the supporters ain't got to worry about them because they're building for the future. If they don't finish in the top 5 this year, they'll finish in the top 4 next year. In my opinion, one result against Man City at home ain't nothing to worry about.
You guys are playing them. Cool K is just saying West Ham, David Moyes to manage Wolves game from home.
Yeah, they're gonna have the big screen apparently with his face from his mug from his home, giving all the instructions.
Bloody hell!
So
that is nuts.
They said it's the last game; it doesn't matter.
That is nuts.
That's going to be interesting. That's going to be really interesting. Because he don't trust Irvine and Odin, does he? But no, just on the game, I thought Wolves were a bit unlucky in the end from what I heard. But they'll come back. They'll have a good season. I think Man City will definitely give Liverpool a bit better run for the title than did last season. Liverpool winning it so well. So
And where did you see this one?
Yeah, I actually feel City are going to push Liverpool hard, much closer this season. I thought that they would be on it from the beginning. Pep would have them up for it. So I'm not surprised that City got the win. I do rate Wolves though. I like what they've done. I mean, they've bought Semedo from Barcelona this week. I mean, that's a big purchase right back. So I mean, I like Wolves, but I think City are going to hammer it this year. I think they're going to really go for it. I think they want that title back. So I think it could be an excellent fight this season for the Premier League. I did
get a text this morning from 2 agents saying that Wolves are inquiring about Dele Alli.
I can't see Dele wanting to go to Wolves. I mean, Aurier turned down the move to Wolves, which and then they went and got Semedo. And I think if I was a Wolves fan, I'm a lot happier with Semedo than I am with Aurier. I don't think Dele would go to Wolves. So I'm not saying that he wouldn't fit into that team and he couldn't do a good job for them, but I think Spurs are trying to. I think Mourinho is trying to get Dele out the door. He says he's not.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that.
I think that what Mourinho wants, he wants a top class striker. He doesn't want, because we've been linked with every backup striker under the sun, and I think Mourinho wants a top quality one. I mean, Mourinho apparently wants Belotti from Torino, but Torino want like 50 million for him. So I think that it looks like we're probably going to go for Milik from Napoli, Darius Milik, and Skriniar from Inter Milan. But I can't see Levy paying that kind of money out without getting some money in from somewhere else. So
I agree.
It looks to me that they're trying to think, well, it was going to be on Ndombele, but they seem to have built bridges with Ndombele now. And so now they're trying to find someone else where they can get big money. And Ali seems to fit the bill. But I think it would still be disappointing because I still rate Ali. He's not been in good form for 2 years, but I still rate him. I still think there's a player there, and he's still only 24. So I don't know. We'll see. But yes, I think they're trying to get money in for Ali
so they can buy.
To fund two big moves to make Mourinho happy. Because if we were to get a top class centre half and a top class backup for Harry Kane, then I think you are looking at us being serious challengers. But
it's funny you haven't mentioned Gareth Bale once today. When I'm shocked.
Well, from what I understand, he ain't going to be ready for at least a month.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
He's already injured, isn't he?
Yeah,
Well, no, he was injured before he came. So I think it's not new. They were originally saying that he might be back for West Ham after the international break, but then they're now saying that it could even be November before he's back. So I wouldn't bank on seeing Bale anytime soon.
I don't want to see Bale anytime soon. I want to see Bale in next summer.
Hey, listen, I think they're running down his contract as well. Cool K is saying Dele Alli was fantastic when he broke through, but since then he seems to have lost his desire to be a better player. Watching the Spurs documentary, he just comes across a bit thick and immature. Oh dear.
I don't think Dele is thick. I don't think he's a thick lad. I don't think he's thick. I think he's struggling to cope with Pochettino leaving.
Yeah, true. Cass, what did you think about this one? Did you get this one right?
Do you know what? I guess 3-1, but obviously I didn't make the bet, so it came true.
What?
3-1, yeah.
Hey, my man's gonna have to slip me the lottery numbers, man. Man.
I'm allowed to be right. I'm just not allowed to profit from it. I thought 3-1. I thought they were going to be absolutely livid after getting battered by Liverpool last season, wiped the floor with, embarrassed, and I think they're going to be livid. And this season they're going to be angry, and I do not want to play them. So I thought it was going to be 3-1 or worse. And it turned out that way. They're a great team. One thing I find with Man City is everyone talks about someone like, I don't know, like Oli or Lampard or whoever, loads of different managers, they say they haven't got a plan B. No one talks about Man City. Man City does not have a plan B. They play one way only.
Man City's plan B left to go and manage at the Emirates. Yeah? That's what happened to their plan B. Because I'm not gonna lie. Ever since Arteta left there, they've looked vulnerable. December, when he went, and I said to Bertram and Tony in February, I said, if you notice something about Man City, don't they look disorganized? They're going away, they're losing all these games. What's going on? Then Bertram said to me on the last day of the season, he goes, they lost 9 games.
Yeah,
do you know what?
Don't contradict yourself, Bertram. That's what you said.
What I'm saying is that I don't think they need when you don't need a plan B. Liverpool doesn't have a plan B. Why should you have one? You dominate.
In case plan A ain't working.
No, because what they need is a manager who doesn't screw up the games where he has to overcoach and overmanage. You have quality players, you dominate. That's what you do. You have two squads that's better than the team you're playing most times. Why do you need a plan B? You dominate the ball. You got to put your chances away because a lot of times Sterling missed a lot of easy chances. Even in the Champions League against Leon, he missed a goal I could score at this age, frankly, where you shouldn't be missing. So at the end of the day, you should dominate. You have the team, dominate.
For instance, Manchester United, they beat them 3 times last year. Man United's team compared to the Man City team is trash. If everyone copied that tactics, all of a sudden you need a plan B. I don't think there's anyone in the world who cannot have a plan B and
I haven't seen Bark have a plan B. I don't see Bark have a plan B. I don't see Rimmage have a plan B. I don't see Bayern have a plan B. Because you don't need one way that dominant.
The only thing City need is to replace Vincent Kompany. They need a leader at the back. That is what they have lost, because since they've lost him, they haven't looked the same. And if they're apparently now trying to get either the guy from Atletico Madrid, Jimenez, I think, or Ruben Diaz from Benfica, who Spurs are sniffing around as well.
Yeah, but again, we're going back to the same topic of centre back, and some of the top teams are just seriously.
No, they need a left back also. Mendy is always.
It's not just a centre back. They need a leader.
Yeah, and the thing is, look, before Arsenal bought Gabriel, I was telling these two guys up here, we need Cody at Wolves. I rate Cody big time, and he was the guy that he's unsung. No one's talking about him, and the guy's just rock solid. I watch him every time he plays, and he's just really good, and he knows the Premiership. But you know, I don't even know what he's worth, what his valuation would be.
He played well for England in that recent.
Kuke saying, is it just me, or is there a pattern here? At Chelsea, the whole dressing room was a problem. At Man United, it was Luke Shaw, who subsequently flourished once Jose had left. Now at Spurs, it's Ali. And then he says, I'm getting the feeling that Jose Mourinho has to pick on someone when actually the problem is the manager is the real
I fully
did a good job.
I fully agree. I fully agree.
Tony.
Yeah. I had Man City 2-1 against Wolves.
Oh.
I like it. Yeah. I Man City Wolves 2-1. Man City, they're going to be on a mission this season. There's no way Guardiola is going to let what happened last season happen this season. They're going to be on a mission. Liverpool, we're going to have to be. It's going to be tough this season to regain the title. There's going to be so many top teams. It's going to be really, really hard. I'm not sure if we, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise me if we don't. It wouldn't surprise me if Man City win it. It's going to be that tough. Guardiola will have one eye on the Champions League for sure. He can't go another season without winning the Champions League. I don't think that's going to be one of his main priorities is Champions League. And going back to Dele Alli, I'll take him.
You take him, yeah.
He's going to be on your bench. He's going to be on your bench for a long time.
Doesn't matter. Imagine him coming off the bench with the squad we've got. I'll take him. And what Klopp could do Dele Alli. We all know there's class there. And with young players, they always have dips. Maybe a year, maybe 2 years, have a dip. And you just need to nurture him. But under Klopp, I'll take him.
Yeah,
I think he's overrated, personally.
He's overrated.
I think so.
I don't
just say, go and have a look at the showreel of some of the goals Dele Alli scored. He's not overrated. He's not overrated. He's a class player.
I think the problem was with him, and I'm not. It's not because I'm an Arsenal fan, and actually this isn't anything really bad. It's just something that's been widely publicised. Is that when Harry Kane got injured, they were looking for a leader to take over the team, and it happened twice. Once is fair enough, but twice where Dele Alli just didn't step up, and I think the fans can see that. Not so much the manager, because it was a different manager when it happened previously before, but the owner has seen it as well. And when you look for someone to step up and be a leader, when Harry Kane, your main man, isn't there, I think he's proven in both times that he just isn't the guy. So, he's been dropped from the national team as well. So
yeah. He's right. He's not number 9, and don't forget, it was the whole team. It wasn't just Dele Alli. Tottenham.
Yeah, I agree.
Dele Alli's not number 9.
No,
he's not a leader.
I think Dele Alli has been Spurs.
No, and he's probably not a leader. You don't have to be a leader to be a good player.
Spurs have had a lot of great players in the last 4 or 5 years, and something just rubs off in their DNA onto the players, that they end up not being as great as they came into the club.
But that's Mourinho. That's what Mourinho has identified as the problem, and that's why now Mourinho is trying to bring in leaders. You know, with the likes of Højbjerg, Joe Hart, Doherty, Bale. He's bringing in players that are leaders in their team, and the ones he's still trying to get now with the likes of Skriniar, and if they're still trying to get Belotti from Torino, although I don't think they'll get him.
It's killing me.
Yeah, but you don't have to change your team by destroying a player. Jose does that all the time. He's ridiculous. And young players too.
He's trying to get a reaction from him. He's trying to say, "Show me I'm wrong."
Yeah.
No. Look. Arteta has Guendouzi problem. Arteta has Ozil problem. You never hear Arteta comes in the media and denigrate his players. That's ridiculous. People react differently as individuals. It may not motivate Ali. It may send a different direction. You have to sit people down, talk to them, encourage them. If you manage people, that's not how you manage people. I manage a lot of people. That's not how you manage people.
Well, I think Mourinho has come out and said this week, he's saying it's not down to me to get the best out of the player. It's down to the player to show me that he's good enough for us. And I think that's exactly the mentality that Tottenham need. That's
I don't agree with that. Look, there's a difference between talking to the player, sitting them down, don't play him. You have to tell the whole world, make him look bad in front of the whole world. Who wants to be embarrassed?
Yeah,
when it's good,
it's
Jose. When it's
he's
bad,
tried
it's
everything else and it hasn't worked.
When
So
it's
he's
good,
trying the last bit.
Yeah, did you hear what Cass said? Yeah, did you hear what Cass said? I agree, Cass. I agree.
When it's good, it's Jose. When it's bad, it's the players. And I tell you this, whoever, and I've watched it just for banter reasons, whoever watches All or Nothing and swallows anything Jose says, listen, you need to go and check your bank account. You've probably been scammed by someone along the way. Because that guy, he is a master of psychology. If he knows that camera's on him, you're going to get a show. You are going to get a show. When he came to Manchester United, what did he say to the cameras, to the media? I've told the players to run. I told them to press. Why are they not running? Because the media's saying how little ground Manchester United covered and we was the least running team and blah, blah, blah. All or Nothing comes out. He tells the same thing. They must run. They must press. Can I tell you something? Why does every team run and press before Jose gets there? And when he gets there, he tells them to do it and they stop.
Because it's not his style to press. That's not his style.
Do you know?
But that's not the way he plays. He plays a counter-attacking game. Mourinho's style is not to press.
My point is, with his own mouth, without us guessing, he said, I told them to press.
I know, and it makes no sense at all.
I think I agree with Andrew here. Andrew is saying some players require guidance and support, and this is what we know as situational leadership. Anyone who's been a manager like myself, Tony, Bertrand will know that it's really dependent on you as a manager to get the best out of your players, and not just in football, but in business, in life. It's the same as being a parent. It's down to you as a parent to get the best out of your children. And I think that it's...
We had Pochettino, who was a master at doing what you've just said, in getting the maximum out of limited resources that he had. And he was great at that. What Spurs are lacking, and this wouldn't apply if we were talking about Liverpool or Man City or Arsenal or some of the teams that have won trophies. Spurs haven't won trophies. We've won one League Cup in 20 years. Spurs right now, I don't want to watch Mourinho's brand of football. It's not my style. Tony will tell you, both Tonys. That's not my style of football. I don't want to watch it. But I'll take it for 12 months for now.
If you win a
if he can turn us round and put a winning mentality into that dressing room. Then I'll have Pochettino back and he can take it from there.
And Lingard is... Sorry, go on, Tony.
I think Mourinho, when it comes to younger players, I'm not sure if he's that great. Even when he's at Man with Rashford, at Chelsea, when the other, even when
Lukaku
at Chelsea.
Lukaku as well.
Now with the youngsters, I'm not sure if he's got enough patience.
It's because he wants a win now team, and when he sees youngsters, it's not win now. Yeah, and that's why the young players look. Kuke saying Lingard and Ali, quite bizarre how quickly they crumbled without any real reason.
Yeah, Lingard too. Yeah,
I mean, do you know what the thing with Mourinho is though? And I think this is the kind of the way that management's going is. Has anybody really said that Mourinho's a great coach? Like, I'm a Chelsea fan. Like, I think Mourinho, when he's got the players the players that he wants, he can put them in the system and he can do what he wants with them. Exactly. But when you actually look at, people like Klopp and Guardiola, they do coach their players. They do naturally improve teams. Whereas Mourinho is one of those managers that you give him a team like a Madrid that's already there, that's already set up. Chelsea, he brought players in, but I think we just needed that mental edge that he gave us. And I think if he's not going to be coaching anybody and turning them into better players. He wants them already at the standard.
He's not improving the quality of their play like a Guardiola or an Arteta or a Klopp. He's not improving the quality of their play. He wasn't a top player himself like those guys were. What he's doing is he's trying to improve the mentality of the players in the squad. And that is what Spurs need. It's not what Liverpool needed or Man United needed or some of these other things, but it is what Spurs need. Because Spurs are on that level that the other teams are at where winning is everything. Spurs have been happy to just finish in the top four. That's not good enough if you want to win trophies.
I thought you guys went to the Champions League final 2 years ago.
Yeah, we did. But
lost in a penalty, a frivolous handball for a penalty.
Yeah, I agree with you. But there was an element of luck in that run.
Can I ask you a question? You say the money that you've been given now, not that it's a lot, I mean, you've brought in players. The players that you've brought in now, or if you was given money, would you rather Jose be given this money and these players or Pochettino?
Great question.
I think right now, I don't think Pochettino would have bought the players that Jose's bought. I don't think he would have bought the same kind of players. Pochettino wouldn't have bought Højbjerg. But I think
who would you rather have the money? Who do you think would have had the better team and the better results out of the two of them?
Mourinho.
Okay.
Wow.
But you didn't really support Pochettino, though. Apart from Ndombele and a few players, you didn't support him.
I can honestly say, in my lifetime, Spurs had the best team, with the possible exception of the Hodel Ardiles era. Spurs have had the best team under Pochettino in my lifetime, without question. To watch, I've enjoyed watching it. But
I thought Redknapp's team was
short.
Redknapp,
we still always fell short on the big occasion. Big semi-finals, big finals. We lost. When we should have won the league, we came second. You know what I mean? We always didn't quite get over the line. And Mourinho is a master of getting a team over the line. And that is what Tottenham need right now. I hope he doesn't stay for 10 years. But I want him there for a year or two to change the mentality within the club. Then hopefully we can get a more progressive manager, maybe like a Nagelsmann or a Pochettino to come back or something like that. I personally believe that Pochettino will be Man United manager by Christmas. That's what I believe.
So. Yeah, I totally agree.
I want you to say that louder. Because last year when I heard that, we ended up third.
Right, guys, that's it for the show today. I wanted us to run a little bit over because when it was finished, we had some important topics to pick up on. But when we have an international break, then we can go into a few discussions. Like, have we changed our top four prediction? Who do we think the rising star is in the league right now, and who's the top player, and who do we think is the biggest letdown? I think Dele Alli is definitely going to be coming up in that discussion. But that's it from us, guys. And I just want to thank everybody in the panel. Thank you very much, everybody. And we'll see you next week, Friday at 10 o'clock for the football lounge. All right, then, lads.
Everyone.
Love, boys. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Nice one.